After going through this module, you should be able to understand quantization of harmonic oscillator energy levels. As you've already seen that for vibration, we use the harmonic oscillator as a model, and we'll understand about the quantization of its energy levels. We'll be able to understand the spectrum of a harmonic oscillator, and we should be able to calculate the force constants of bonds. I begin with a brief introduction. The harmonic oscillator is a good starting point for studying molecular vibrations. We will first do the classical treatment as usual, and then get some results, and then we will see what is the effect of quantization. Classical treatment shows that the frequencies of vibration is related to the force constant of the bond and the masses of the atoms which are involved in this bond. In this module, we shall see that application of quantum mechanics leads to equally spaced energy levels and also a new thing, a 0-point energy. The selection rules require that the vibrational quantum number should change by 1 unit during a transition. Also, the dipole moment of the molecule should change during a vibration for it to be infrared active. This leads to the condition that homonuclear diatomic molecules will not show any pure vibrational spectra, and heteronuclear diatomic molecules will only show a single line in the vibrational spectra, since the energy levels are quantized, they are equally spaced, and the transitions which are allowed are only from one level to the next level, and all of them have the same spacings. So, we will then see what the quantum mechanical harmonic oscillator, what it tells us about the quantization of energy levels of a harmonic oscillator. We are now in a position to solve the Schrodinger equation for a one-dimensional harmonic oscillator. What does a Schrodinger equation contain? It contains a kinetic energy term which is always the same, minus h cross square by 2m d2 by dx square, and where x is the one-dimensional harmonic oscillator is in the direction x, and force we have already seen is minus the derivative of the potential energy with respect to the displacement, and so V is equal to half kx square, and the potential energy curve therefore resembles a parabola because it is half kx square. That means that for plus x or minus x, the amount of potential energy is the same. It is a parabolic dependence as you have seen in maths, and this is the optimized quantized energy levels of the molecular vibrations. When you solve the Schrodinger equation, it shows that the vibrational energies are quantized, and they can be expressed as E for a vibrational quantum number V is equal to V plus half, this multiplied by h nu, and this is expressed in joule because nu is in second inverse, and h is the Planck's constant, which as you know has the dimensions joule second. So, the energy turns out to be in joules, and this vibrational quantum number, as we have seen for other quantum numbers, can only take on integer values including 0. So, the frequency of vibration you also know nu is equal to 1 by 2 pi square root of k by mu, and mu is the reduced mass, k is the force constant of the bond, and since you already know that lambda into nu is equal to c, that means that nu is equal to c by lambda. So, the wave number is, as you know, is given by 1 by lambda, it is equal to nu by c. So, that is why I can write down omega, it is a new term that I am using, and this is for the vibrational frequency expressed in centimeter inverse. It is obtained by taking the expression of for nu dividing by c, and that means omega is equal to 1 by 2 pi c into square root of k by mu in centimeter inverse. So, the vibrational term is given by GV, and it is obtained by dividing the vibrational energy in terms of the vibrational quantum number EV divided by Hc, and this is equal to V plus half into h nu by Hc, and this is equal to V by half into nu by c, and we have already seen that nu by c is equal to omega. So, we have GV is equal to V plus half into omega, and where omega is expressed in centimeter inverse, and the vibrational quantum number V can take on values 0, 1, 2 and so on. So, obviously, the lowest energy value will be when V is equal to 0, and we write this energy as G0, and it is given by, if you substitute V is equal to 0 in the expression, it is equal to half omega, or the energy in terms of joule is given by half h nu. Now, this is a quantity, this is the lowest vibrational energy a molecule can have, which is not 0, but it is equal to half h nu. So, because this is the energy that the molecule would have even when it has no thermal energy, even when it is at the absolute 0 of temperature, it is called the 0 point energy. It should be realized that the vibrational each vibrational mode is characterized by a series of evenly spaced energy levels with delta E is equal to h nu as the energy separation between any two levels, because G1 will be equal to 3 by 2 h nu, G2 will be equal to 5 by 2 h nu. So, the spacing between these energy levels is equal to h nu. The allowed wave functions are proportional to the Hermite polynomials and are alternatively even and odd. So, the eigenvalues, they are given as EV is equal to V plus half h nu, but the eigenvectors are given in terms of some special polynomials which are called the Hermite polynomials, but spelt as HERMITE. If you like, you can continue calling them Hermite polynomials as usually they are called, and these are the wave functions that we have plotted for the harmonic oscillator. And you will see that they are alternately even and odd, and you look at what kind of energy levels you are getting and how they are varying with the vibrational quantum number. Now, we come to the mechanism of infrared absorption. Unless there is interaction between matter and the vibrational energy levels which can cause change in the vibrational energy levels, no vibrational spectra will be observed. So, the mechanism of transfer of energy between the radiation and the molecule is very similar to that discussed in connection with rotational transitions. A molecule has a dipole moment. When the molecule vibrates, there is a change in the dipole moment. If the oscillating dipole moment, the dipole moment that is changing with the vibration, so it is oscillating, it matches the oscillating frequency of the electric field of the radiation, then there will be an exchange of energy and you will see vibrational spectroscopy. The electric field of the radiation can interact with a vibrating molecule to cause it to jump from an initial V is equal to 0 level to a higher V level. So, the mechanism is similar to what you found in rotational spectroscopy, but there it was rotation that was taking place. Now, while a rotation takes place, what happens is that the molecule is neither changing its length, the bond length, nothing is happening, it is just rotating in space. If it has a permanent dipole moment, then that permanent dipole moment will keep on oscillating during the rotation, and if the oscillating dipole moment of the electric field of the radiation also has the same frequency, there is absorption. Here what is happening is that the atoms are alternately, the bond is stretching and it is compressing alternately. Now, during this obviously the dipole moment will change because it depends upon the bond length and the charge separation, which will keep on varying during a vibration. Now, this variation will be oscillating, and if it is oscillating with the same frequency as the electric field of the radiation, absorption of radiation will take place. Now, let us see what it has to tell us about the kind of vibrations we can get. Heteronuclear diatomic molecules possess a dipole moment that varies with the internuclear distance. Now, that means it follows that such molecules can absorb radiation and go from the V is equal to 0 state, which is the ground state, to a higher V level. On the other hand, the homonuclear diatomic molecules like nitrogen, hydrogen and so on, they have no dipole moment, and whether you stretch them or compress them, you cannot change the dipole moment, it will remain 0 whatever you do. And so, this dipole moment is 0 and it does not change as the molecule vibrates. As for rotation, homonuclear diatomics such as O2 and N2, they cannot interact with radiation to change the vibrational energy and have no absorption band in the infrared spectral region. So, now we use quantum mechanical solutions for the harmonic oscillator. We will not go into the details, but as usual we will try to find out the selection rules, and the selection rules simply tell us that delta V is equal to plus minus 1. So, that was a gross selection rule, that there should be a change in the in the dipole moment of the molecule while it is vibrating for it to be infrared active to absorb in the infrared region. And the second, the particular selection rule is that the change in vibrational quantum number that is allowed is only by 1 unit, either it can go up in absorption or it can go down in absorption. So, to the selection rule we add the condition that the vibrational energy change which will give rise to a spectrum only if the vibration can interact with radiation. Hence, the gross selection rule is that the vibration should cause a change in the dipole moment of the molecule. This means that homonuclear diatomic molecules should be infrared inactive just as they were microwave inactive. And we also want to note that the change in the energy, and this epsilon denotes the energy in centimeter inverse, and this is given by in absorption as EV. For emission it will be from the higher energy level to the lower energy level. So, it is from the V plus first energy level to the Vth energy level, and delta E, as we saw, the spacing between all these energy levels was all centimeter inverse. So, it is omega centimeter inverse, and for absorption the reverse happens. It goes from the Vth energy level to the V plus first energy level, and it is equal to omega centimeter inverse. Hence, whether it is absorption or emission, you will observe a single line because this energy spacing is independent of V, and that means whether it is from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 energy level or 2 to 3 energy level, the emission that will be observed or the absorption that will be observed will be a single line, and a single line will be observed in the vibrational spectrum from which you can determine the force constant of the molecule. Because you have seen that the single line omega is equal to nu by c and nu is equal to 1 by 2 pi square root of k by mu. So, if you know the reduced mass of the molecule, of the diatomic molecule, you can find out the force constant, which is a very important quantity because it tells you how strong the bond is, and something that you are able to see the molecule without actually seeing it. So, this we will illustrate with an example, and you are required to calculate the force constant of the NO molecule, and you are given that the position of the NO stretching mode, because only stretching can occur in a diatomic molecule, and for which particular isotope, nitrogen 14 the regular one and oxygen 16, and this is 1876 centimeter inverse. And now what is this equal to? This is equal to omega because it is in centimeter inverse. It is equal to 1976 centimeter inverse, and this is equal to 1 by 2 pi c square root of k by mu, and that means that the force constant can also be written as 4 pi c square omega square. And for nitric oxide, because you are given which isotope of nitrogen and which isotope of oxygen to take the exact value. We have done that and we found out the mu value, and this is in kg, and from where you can find out the force constant of the bond. Now, I just want to M1 M2 by M1 plus M2, this is what we have done. 14.003 is M1 and into 15.9995, which is for oxygen, M1 M2 divided by M1 plus M2, and this we multiplied by 10 raised to the power of minus 3 because this will give you in grams for a mole of nitric oxide molecules, and so we want to convert to kg. You multiply by 10 raised to the power of minus 3, but you have to divide by Avogadro's number to get it for a single molecule of nitric oxide, and this gives us the force constant, and this is equal to 1548 Newton per meter. Okay. So, if it is given omega is expressed in centimeter inverse, we have C should also be expressed in centimeter per second, and it should be given in terms of 2.998 into 10 raised to the power of 10 centimeter per second, so that you are able to balance the units. So, what have we learned? That infrared spectroscopy allows us to determine the strengths of bonds. The high value of the force constant shows that the NO bond is strong and its bond order is 2.5. The usual way that you calculate the bond order, it turns out to be 2.5, and it is a very strong molecule, and that is why its force constant is pretty large, it is around 1850 Newton per meter. And note the units, if you expressed everything in SI units, the units for the force constant are in Newton per meter. A second example we will take, the force constant of another molecule, the bromine molecule is 240 Newton per meter. Here we are doing the reverse calculation. We are given the force constant and we are asked to calculate the fundamental vibrational frequency and the 0 point energy of this bromine molecule. We calculate the reduced mass. For a homonuclear diatomic molecule like bromine, its reduced mass is simply the mass divided by 2. Now, why is that? Because for these m is equal to m1 and this is also equal to m2, because m1 is equal to m2, and the reduced mass is m1 m2 by m1 plus m2. That means it is m square by 2m, which is equal to m by 2. So, it is a simple expression. And for bromine, we are talking about the AT isotope, for which the atomic mass is 79.904. You again multiply by 10 raised power of minus 3 to convert to kg, and you divide by 2, because m by 2 you have to take for the reduced mass, and this divided by 6.022 into 10 raised power of 23, which is Avogadro's number, and this gives us 6.634 into 10 raised power of minus 26 kg. And when you express nu, it turns out to be 1 by 2 pi, that means 1 by 2 into 3.142 into the square root of the various quantities, that the force constant k is 240, then you divide by the reduced mass. What you get is the expression for the vibrational frequency, and now this is the fundamental vibration frequency. In wave number units, you will get it in by dividing by C, and this gives you 319 centimeter inverse. What is the 0 point energy? It is simply equal to half h nu, and this is equal to 3.175 into 10 raised power of minus 21 joule per molecule. I have worked out this whole equation so that you know what you are talking about. You are looking at a single molecule, so the energy is expressed in joule per molecule, and to convert to kilojoules per mole, you multiply by 10 raised power of minus 3 and into 6.022 into 10 raised power of 23 Avogadro's number, and you get a simple expression 1.912 kilojoule per mole. And but this vibration, remember, it is not infrared active. Why I took this example is that all molecules are vibrating, but you may not be able to observe their vibrational frequency because they may not be infrared active. You may be able to observe them in some other kind of spectroscopy that we will talk about later, but right now in infrared, bromine molecule is infrared inactive. So, I will summarize what we have learned. We have learned that the energy levels of a harmonic oscillator are quantized, the energy levels are equally spaced. The selection rule allows transitions only between adjacent levels, and that means a single line corresponding to the fundamental, this is called the fundamental frequency, should be observed. The force constant, that is the strength of the bond, can be determined from the observed fundamental vibrational frequency.